Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Monday morning, a UBS Live, back home in my chair at my desk just for a few days while we reset and repack for USA this Thursday morning, departing there. Good morning, Amy. Lovely to see you. And Nat. All right, you guys, let me do my sharing around on my other computer to the other groups, and we're going to get this started at 9 o'clock. And literally up until this, the point of coming on live, I've been thinking for the last hour and a half while I've been exercising in the shower, sitting here, trying to jot down some ideas. What the hell am I going to talk about today? And I decided that I'm going to cover this, not debate, but the thing that most people struggle with in business, and that is getting a no from a potential client, and the fact that it happens a lot more than obviously we get yeses in, and the fact that when I started out in business, I underestimated how many no's I would need to get through to get to a yes. And even to this point, sometimes I kind of surprise myself. I go, oh my gosh, it requires a lot of staying power, discipline, and courage to keep going in this way. Good morning, Megan. Nice to see you. All right, let me share this, guys, to the other couple of groups that this needs to go out to. Hope you guys are doing well. All right, so let me share it in my Ultimate Business Support group. Hey, Caroline. All right. So Ultimate Business Support is going to get this one. And I'm completely I'll just share it. And then share it into the other group. All right, so one more share and we'll get started with the content, because it's 2 minutes from 9 o'clock, and that's when we usually kick it off. All right, my timeline in a group, and it's going to go into also your way to reaches as well. Perfect. Did you guys know that you can share a live stream across your groups while you're live, so you're appearing live in the other ones? Hey, Brenton as well, and Sarah. All right, you guys. So the underestimation of no's in business and how to deal with it. So often when we start out, everyone has heard this thing that you need to get through a certain amount of no's till you get to a yes. And certainly when we're new in business, we tend to get a lot more no's. So it's like kind of 50 no's to get to one yes, and get finally crack the seal to get your first paying client. And then, still a whole lot of more no's. It just happens in a bigger sequence. But as time progresses and we become a little bit better at tweaking what we're doing, how we're saying it, when we're saying it, we should see the occurrence of yeses a lot more. However, a lot of people don't actually stick it out that long to actually see this whole pattern happen. And there's quite a lot of mindset stuff involved. People start feeling like, well, what I've got to offer has no value, or they don't value themselves enough. So not only do they think what I've got to offer has no value, but then they think, maybe I'm not worth it, or maybe I'm not confident in solving the problem. So let's talk about the things that truly sell, out there as an individual. Good morning, Kitty. Nice to see you as well. So if you have any comments or questions or insights around this, please just post them, and I will read them as they're coming up on my screen. So there's a whole lot of mindset involved in us getting over ourselves in order to allow flow into our life. So in order to allow those yeses to come in. And even at a stage of business, like say where I'm at now, I still go through mental funk periods where, I might feel like I'm really pushing and there's a lot of resistance and not allowing that flow to come in. And so what I do personally is, listen to some videos, read books, meditate, do all of those kind of things that get me into a stage of more balance, or coming in to allow flow rather than push. And so, dealing with our mindset in the early days and working on our confidence and certainty around what we stand for. So one thing that I think changes, the more you externalize what you do and how you help people, is that you build the language behind it. So often when we start out, we have not much language or repetition to have delivered what we say. So we're like, oh yeah, well, I help people in this way, with this particular way. And the minute we and around the thing that we help people with, the minute other people start to feel uncertain, it's like, do you really know what you're doing? Are you sure? The minute people feel uncertainty within us, that's what loses us the sale, and it's a no. Good morning, Helen. And so certainty and confidence, and this is what I heard when I started at it's coming up to 8 years, you guys, in business this May for my birthday. So I'm literally on the cusp of making 8 years into my business. And, they said to us at this coaching school that I went to, certainty and confidence are the things that truly sell. It's not so much what you know or how much you know or all that sort of stuff or what your program is. It's how you deliver what you stand for and what your offering is. And I never got that until I was at the point of being certain and confident around my content and my offer and my the stuff, and I could communicate it so clearly and so succinctly that I realized that that's when people were like, want to find out more, want to find out more, want to find out more. And so my first suggestion is start working on getting out there and saying your thing as many times as possible. Because when you are staying at home and hiding behind a computer or just typing up about your stuff, it doesn't give you as much confidence, because a sale ultimately is made through a conversation with another person. Am I right? Am I right? Because usually a sale, yes, there is online sales. I'm not saying there isn't, and people going through your funnels and all of that kind of stuff. But not a lot of people are that tech savvy that they end up closing sales purely online. Certainly in the early days, if you're still building up your business, a sale has to occur through a conversation. And can be through a conversation where you've met someone at a networking event, you're having a phone conversation, you are doing speaking gigs or whatever it is. Thanks, guys. You have to have a conversation, and in that conversation, you have to have an immaculate way of presenting what you stand for and how you deliver it. What I found really helpful for me when I would, of course, sit down with people, and I've taught people the process of the sales process that would need to take someone through, which we're not going to talk about today. But I would have, I'm just trying to find something, I would have my laminate, back when I started as a coach, and I still have this because obviously for my programs I still have it. I don't use it as much, but I would create something like this, which was my table of value, which is my current table of deliverables for the Ultimate 48-Hour Author program. And basically, when I would sit down with someone, I would work out what their, gaps were, whether I could help them or not. And then I would sit through and I go, okay, if you're ready to discuss how we can progress together, here's what we offer through our packages. And it would be laid out sort of this way. And I would sit down and take them through it. I say, I'm happy to send you a copy of this in an email. But what this allowed me to do is not forget how to explain my stuff, but also it was a little bit of a crutch and a tool to show people the immense value that was built into the program that they would be joining. The other thing that I also did early on in business is always had like a set of tangible takeaways. So if the client signed up with me then and there, that I could give them all of the resources and bits and pieces, where there was a book. At the time when I was doing weight loss coaching, I would give them a scale, I would give them a plan, I would give them there was another thing, like a watch, one of those health and fitness watches and all that kind of stuff. So a whole bundle of products that they could take away so they would feel good about joining the program. So that was my little crutch. And I always have, by the way, one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is not having all of their stuff ready on the spot. So not having a form of payment, not having the agreement on hand, not having their table of deliverables. So this little harmonica style folder goes everywhere with me, and especially for events, because for events you need lots of different handouts and stuff like that, but it's got one of everything and multiples of that one thing in it. So I carry 10 or 12 of my agreements, 10 or 12 of my congratulation sheets, my easy pay forms, a few of these tables of deliverables. I don't give them away laminated, but I carry everything I can possibly need. So whenever I'm having a conversation after a half day, when I sit down and I can give people those things, and I can make a decision, and we can actually get all the paperwork done, so there's not a ton of back and forward. So what you want to do is make the sale as easy as possible, or as smooth. The process needs to be as smooth as possible, so that there's not it doesn't create that resistance, because the person who is potentially joining your program or joining your coaching course or whatever it is, they're feeling pretty vulnerable at the time. It's usually in the things that we do, and the people that follow me are leaps of faith for people. Like this is a big decision for them to jump on and take that leap of faith. So you want to make it as smooth as possible, so it's actually, there's a lot more excitement and congratulations around the process than actually it's like, oh, we need to get this done, and here's, and just be mindful of the language you're also using. So rather than calling agreements contracts, call them agreements, and deposits, your commitment to this process, just changing the words a little bit as well. So as you progress, you're not going to stop getting the no's, and sometimes there's going to be a series of like almost a wave of no's that kind of got to the point where, again, you can reach a point of doubt that you're worthy, or that your program's worthy. By the way, another thing I forgot to mention is it's super, super, super important that you must believe that what you've got to offer is the best thing out there in the world, that you've got the best service in whatever problem that you're solving out there for people. Because if you don't, and obviously we're all aware we have competitors in the marketplace, but you need to be number one, you need to be bought into that particular the thing that you're selling. It's like, would you invest in the thing that you're selling, right? And I know certainly for Ultimate 48-Hour Author, I would invest in me time and time and time over again, and I certainly do. And I'm getting ready, you guys, to write the next book, which is going to happen on the plane over to LA on Thursday, because it's a day flight, and I said, I can smash out quite a lot of this book on that flight. So I decided I'm going to start doing it, and every single time I follow my own system to execute content from my subsequent books. So it's really important that you buy into your own offer, and that you believe that you're the number one service provider or product provider of the thing that you're selling. Because that's the thing that's also, if you're having doubts, if you haven't created what you think it's the best thing out there since sliced bread, that no one else is going to buy into it. So various different things can happen, and you will start noticing. So what I want you to start noticing as you go through sales conversations, and by the way, most of the time, businesses of the type that of the people that are on this call and that follow me will fail because they don't actually even give themselves the opportunity to have no's come into their business. Francesca and I were had dinner the other night before I went to Queensland, and we were just sitting there and thinking about the amount of no's we have to go through every single year to get to the yeses that usually people notice. So it's the yeses that people will notice when there's success, but of course when there is no's, you just kind of like keep moving along. And we said, my goodness, I've probably had thousands of no's over the last 8 years, thousands, right? Because when I do an event, for example, and I make my offer, some people will end up having a chat with me and still end up being a no. And then the others who didn't even want to have a chat with me are obviously saying a no, you know, walking out of the room. So I said to Francesca, can you believe you know, how many no's we've been through? Thousands. Literally every year, I reckon we would go through 1,000 no's, you know, to get the 100, 150 yeses, whatever that is. And you know, and I said, what people don't fail to do is actually give themselves the opportunity to get a no. So one of the biggest things that I focus on throughout the year is building up the numbers to have, so creating the sales conversations, creating the opportunity to communicate with someone that you want, you know, that we should work together, or that, you know, obviously to have a need and I have what I've got to offer and all that sort of stuff. So on my wall here, as you guys can see, that pink thermometer was my theme for the year. And my theme for the year was to sell over 1,000 tickets to my half-day events. And at the end of February, we're sitting at about 207, you know, about 250, 260. And March, I think we're going to get pretty, we got about halfway through the year. I definitely think we're going to be past the 500 person mark. And you know, out of all of that, you know, is what the outcome. So really, I don't focus on how many clients am I going to get in the year. Certainly, I have a certain goal and a desire that I want to get to, but my number one focus is actually that, because if that gets, well, it will, to over 1,000 and past 1,000, which it certainly will, it is going to produce the sales outcome that I want, because I will have gotten that many no's. Not all of them, of course. However, I will have given myself the opportunity to get that many no's. I seriously was underestimating in business when I started out how many I was going to get as I went along, because it took me 5 months to get my first paying client. I only had 2 or 3 at the end of the first 12, 13 months. Yet, even in that first year, I had most likely over 100 conversations. Thanks, Megan. I trust you guys are getting value from this, because it's totally not structured today. I've literally thought about this topic 3 minutes before I clicked live, and so I'm just trusting that I'm just sharing stuff that you can take away some aha moments from. I'm gonna talk about a few little tweaks that have worked for me to improve my conversion and my sales. So about 4 years ago, I was delivering obviously my half-day event, and a lot of the time I would walk away with no sales. So my mentor at the time said, Nat, I think you're really good at one-on-one. And he goes, maybe perhaps invite people to have more of a one-on-one conversation with people after your event, rather than just selling it off the stage. And that was a big, big difference. So I changed to inviting people to qualify, and which is part of the process anyway. I want to make sure I'm working with the right people, but changing from purely just selling off the stage and having a call to action off the stage to having a qualifying conversation has done wonders for the quality of client that I allow and invite into my program, but also in terms of the success in conversion. Emma's just asking, are you pre-qualifying the people who come to your events? Well, they're pre-qualified in a way, Emma, whereby they're targeted, and we only target specific age groups, sexes, qualifications, interests, and all that kind of stuff. But even we've done one event where we're doing like a free ticket, which we don't normally do. But in that event, if we do a free ticket, we do have a pre-qualifying questionnaire before we allow them to come to the event. So in a way, yes, absolutely. Another tweak that I had made, and I always talk about this, is how much value can you build into your program so that when someone commits into it, it's like a no-brainer. So turning your program into a no-brainer. So as I was delivering the retreats and all that kind of stuff, I decided that I wanted to give my clients even more value. So I introduced these 2-day masterclasses. And these 2-day masterclasses run 4 times a year. And my clients now get not only their retreat, but they get 8 more face-to-face training days a year, which is massive value without any extra investment. And I co-host those with Francesca. The other thing that I changed as I went on is actually, this only happened about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. I started telling people my price to my program very early into my seminar, and basically just saying, hey, this is what it is. Let's not do this whole build up to a sale at the end and all that kind of stuff. Let's just be really frank about it, and I'm going to tell you early on. So I do that at a stage where I've built up enough rapport, and it flows very nicely into the story. It actually makes sense that I would reveal it at that point. There's a reason why I'm saying it. I'm not doing a sales pitch. It's almost part of the story. But what that changed, it allowed people to sort of relieve the tension that's in the room, because they know that there will be a call to action at the end. There will be something, a further process, and that what that then does, it's obviously they've got a figure in their mind that they're playing with or considering over the following 3 hours, and stacking value against to understand that this is what it is, rather than revealing it purely at the back end, right at the end of the seminar, and actually going and then them going, they've forgotten what's happened the previous 4 hours. So that has worked really, really well, and people find it very honest and authentic, and therefore I don't need to do a big spiel that goes on forever and ever and ever and ever, and this allows time for sharing lots of value. Really estimating and understanding your numbers. So this is a mindset thing. Knowing our numbers is important for accounting practices and for predictions, and this is why I also came up with my 1,000 half-day tickets thermometer, if you like. But knowing my numbers is something that relieves and predicts whether I'm on track, right? So I know what my average conversion rate is, and the reality is that in some events I will smash it and double it, and in some events I may do 0. Okay, so I always have like 3 or 4 events in the year out of 50 that will end up having 0 conversion, and then I have others that are going to be double my standard conversion. And so it just makes me calm down when I walk away out of an event and I haven't had any conversion at all, or you don't know straight away. We have a 48-hour a time frame where we really either people come into the program or they don't. And so I am very sort of at ease when a 0 happens, because even a 0 can be very disheartening, because you do a lot of things to put an event on. You put it, you hire in venue. You're doing, if you are doing this, but which we are, huge amounts of advertising. About $2,500 goes into advertising an event. I mean, of course, you're selling tickets, but the ticket sales they definitely don't cover all of your expenses. So you kind of, whenever I start a half-day workshop, I'm starting backwards. Like I'm starting from $1,000 to $2,000 in the red. And so when you get a 0, you kind of go, okay, it can be kind of disheartening. Oh my God, I lost money on this particular exercise or this particular event. But when you have tracked your numbers over a period of time, and you can look at it, now I've got 3 years worth of what my numbers look like after my half-day workshop, so I can completely predict what's going to happen. And of course, I always, you guys, look for ways to increase conversion and to refine what I do, you know, by reading books, by watching videos, by being mentored, by learning about different sales processes and all that kind of stuff. Because ultimately, I want to help as many people as possible. But in order to help as many people as possible, I need to also be the best version of me that can communicate the value as to why it's important people, you know, engage our services for writing and leveraging a book. So yeah, so it's, you know, tracking my numbers is super important. So why did I have a 1,000 ticket half-day events goal? Is because I know that will generally convert into around 100 authors, and 100 authors has been one of my you know, goals for like 2 or 3 years. We have increased every single year, you know, from the first year when we did about well, the first year started off in October when we started this program, and we got our first 10 people through. The next year was like 35. The following year was like 55. Then it was like 65, almost. No, we got to 80, I think, last year with Dubai. So, you know, I've chased this 100 authors goal in a year for a little while, and I thought, how can I reverse engineer this to really see it happen? And I thought that would be a really nice a way to track my my progress and just get out there. And again, every time you get out there, it needs to be without any expectation. Okay, so what the famous saying is, be committed to getting an outcome, but not attached to what that outcome is. How many territories are you in now? You've got Australians. Emma, let me reveal something if I haven't yet on Facebook. Yes, we're going to the US this week, and yes, we're in Dubai, and of course Australia, every single state bar Northern Territory. However, and we won't be going internationally much next year at all. We did New Zealand, actually. We recently did New Zealand, and we'll probably return there, being almost like another state of Australia because it's not too far. But right now, you guys, I'm in a period of, the year has felt super long for me. I know you guys are probably thinking it's April already, but from mid-January to right now, there has not been 1 week off travel. And when I look at my big calendar there, these first 4.5 months, like there's just the stuff, so much travel, and I just don't want to do that to myself again. I know it's self-inflicted. However, I believe that my best outcomes and for where I want to see my business be are here. And someone said this at PSA convention just last weekend, I believe, and they were all about creating this lifestyle business. And I think my business has grown to a point where I love where it's at, and you know, I'm not any longer in a revenue growth kind of goal setting, but I want to create that, again, refine and choose to plateau at a certain level, which is still a high level. It's a multiple 7-figure level, but I want to choose to plateau because I want to do other things in my life. And you know, I'm loving what I'm doing. I'm still excited. I still love helping everyone that I help. But 100 authors a year, it's a wonderful plateau to be at. And that's where I want to do. Still, to get to that number, it will require an enormous amount of work and effort, and still travel nationally. But seriously, there is, you know, like the book The Alchemist says, you know, you can go looking outside of your home, you know, for other opportunities and the other gold and elsewhere, but usually it is hidden in our backyard. And that's what I have realized myself. So I didn't have a super massive desire to keep going internationally, seeing as Australia is quite far from most other countries. So I'm going to really enjoy the US coming up, because we are going to WrestleMania there, and we're doing 6 city events over there, and catching up with some of our authors and people that we met met last time, but I'm really wanting to stay put a little bit home for a little while and hang out, with, really miss the children and the family, and I know that ultimately at the end of the day, I have the power to create whatever business I want and to generate whatever revenue or clients I want, because I now know what I need to do to achieve a certain outcome in business. So it's now all about choice. It's not about pushing. It's not about making massive I'm at that, I'm reaching, I guess the business is reaching a point, it's moved past the startup and the infancy period, and it's had its growing pains and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if I would say it's at its maturity, but I do feel mature in the business, and I do feel confident around our systems. I'll always keep improving and getting better, because that's just part of my personality, and I want to feel like I'm achieving every single day. But I can tell you, it's so rewarding. It's so amazing to have all of these people that I work closely with, because 100 Authors still keeps it at a point where it can be intimate. It can have that family feel focus with our clients that we're working with, and it provides everything we need in our lives to continue growing also towards financial independence, which is our strategy now. So every year we are investing in a new property. So over 5 years, we will be investing in 5 different properties in addition to the 3 we already have. So we've already got the 4th one, and we're building up that so that it eventuates towards the financial independence. So what I'm trying to say, you guys need to decide, where do you want to get to? What does success look like to you, and how much is enough? Because Stuart and I ask ourselves that question every single year. Every 6 months we go, what is enough for us? Do we want an 8-figure business? Do we want a business that's going to have 15 different staff? Honestly, no. Me, Stuart, my mum, our VA, Lindy in the Philippines, we're a close-knit family, and yes, the kids will probably come into it as they grow up, and Juddy's going to do his first international 6-event tour with us. We've given him tasks that he's going to have to do during the half-day events, because it's only our son that's coming to America. The girls are staying behind with my mum. And who knows, we want to train them up to be amazing individuals, and to know also to do what it takes to generate sales, and to remember that know that you are closer to a yes, but please, please, please don't underestimate the amount of no's you must go through. No's are just part of the business. They make you stronger. But courage is the ability to go past those no's, get up the next morning and say, I'm going to do it all over again. Because there's going to be moments that you're just going to want to throw the towel in. And I can tell you that as long as you keep looking for opportunities to get no's, I can guarantee you're going to get to a yes, because the more you've gotten through conversations, and the more people have engaged with you, the better you're going to become at communicating what you stand for. And the better you become at communicating your value, the more yeses you're going to get to. And again, it's never going to be more heavily weighed on the yes side than the no side. It's just ain't going to happen. So don't think that every person you meet will be, and not every person's going to like you, which is cool. It's like the right people are going to be engaged with you and your personality. So guys, I know this was a little bit of an impromptu UBS live. I wasn't fully prepared, but I thought this conversation was important to have around how much people underestimate sales success in terms of the quantity of people you need to speak to. But just Google funnels and look at a funnel and it says leads, prospects, clients, and you'll see that everything kind of cuts down to 10% of the other one. So let me know if you have any questions. If you have, oh good, Megan, I'm glad. Just what I needed to hear today. I kind of have learned to trust myself in what I'm going to talk about each and every Monday, and that the right thing is going to come out at the right Monday. If you have watched the recording of this and you do have questions or comments, just pop them up. I always see the additional comments and questions after we get off the call, because because I get notifications, right? All right, guys, I've got a couple of authors to prep today, but it's a day behind in the office for me, which is kind of like a little bit of a novelty of late. And I'm going to enjoy doing that and slowly start to get ready for my my big trip this weekend. And we have, I just want to let you know, last night we did book a whole month away in Thailand. We're going to go just after Queen's birthday weekend, and we booked our flights and booked our accommodation, villas, bungalows, wherever we're going. We're going to be living in Thailand for a month from mid-June to mid-July, which is exciting. So that is done because we had never actually left it this long till booking our next holiday. It's usually always booked before the last one finishes. So I'm counting the days to that. But first of all, let's go USA this week. See you guys. Talk soon. Bye-bye.